You ever notice how the world gets quiet right when you need the most noise? No encouragement, no recognition, just silence and suffering. Because when you're weak, no one sticks around. Not your friends, not your followers, not even the algorithm. That's the moment most people quit. Not because they failed, but because they feel invisible. But solo leveling shows us a better way. Look, I usually talk about Vikings, but today we're swapping axes for shadows. Because solo leveling might be the most jacked self-help book ever disguised as anime. And Sung Jin Woo, that man didn't just level up. He did it alone. No party, no potions, just dungeon trauma and god-tier shoulder blades. This is your solo leveling self-improvement guide for when you've got no help, no hope, and still want to become unstoppable. At the start of solo leveling, Jin Woo is what we'd politely call absolute trash. An E-rank hunter. Lower than background character energy. The guy whose job was literally run away and don't die first. And still, he showed up. Every day, every raid, broken bones, cracked pride, no excuses. That's the first lesson. Before you level up, you grind alone. No one claps for you at 6 a.m. No one reposts your calorie deficit. No one celebrates your 3-view YouTube upload that took 10 hours to edit. Except maybe your mom, but let's be honest. She didn't even finish it. The grind is invisible. Just like Jin Woo grinding dungeons solo after unlocking the system. He didn't post a highlight reel, he just worked over and over in silence while everyone still saw him as weak. That's where real power is built. Not in the spotlight, in the shadows. And ironically, that's exactly what turned him into the Shadow Monarch. They won't notice your progress until it's too powerful to ignore. Here's the thing about the system in solo leveling. It didn't just randomly pick Jin Woo out of pity. It activated because he chose to keep going. Remember that moment? He's crawling on the dungeon floor, bleeding, dying, everyone else down for the count, and he still stands up. That wasn't luck, that was alignment. In real life, we keep waiting for something to click, the right routine, the perfect planner, some magical system that'll finally fix our lives and make us ripped, productive, and mysteriously good at drinking enough water. But like Jin Woo, the system doesn't work until you do. You can buy all the self-help books in the world, but if you don't open them, congrats, you've just made your bookshelf smarter than you. The gym won't lift itself, the journal won't write itself, and that to-do app on your phone, it's not a productivity spell, it's a graveyard for good intentions. Self-improvement is not a feature, it's a choice. Jin Woo didn't wait for confidence, he acted. He moved first, and then the system moved with him. The algorithm didn't notice your effort, your friends didn't praise your progress. Who cares? You don't need permission to evolve. Stop waiting for life to pick you up. Pick yourself, and the system will follow. Let's talk about that moment. You know the one. Jin Woo's crawling across the dungeon floor. His party's wrecked. The boss monster's smirking. Everything in him says, just give up. And then he doesn't. That scene isn't just anime drama. It's a mirror. Because every person chasing growth hits this wall. The moment where you're tired, unseen, and asking, why does it have to hurt this much? Because that's the cost. Pain is the entry fee to power. And life doesn't accept coupons. You want to be stronger? Then you have to break. That's the rule. The transformation you want is hidden inside the suffering you're avoiding. Jin Woo didn't get strong in spite of his pain, he got strong through it. The system activated after his lowest moment because that's when he proved he was ready. In your world, that dungeon might be heartbreak, failure, anxiety so loud you can't hear your own thoughts. But that's not a dead end, it's a door. Yeah, it's a painful, crying on the floor kind of door, but behind it, that's where the upgrades live. Most people run from pain, but the strongest ones, they walk straight through it. And on the other side, what happens after the pain? Usually, nothing. No crowd, no reward, just silence. And that silence, that's where most people fall apart. But not Jin Woo. He didn't get strong surrounded by hype men. He got strong training alone, bleeding in dungeons no one saw, mastering skills no one noticed, until suddenly everyone did. Because isolation isn't punishment, it's a forge. Solitude isn't sad, it's underrated. It's where you become so focused you scare yourself. We live in a world where silence feels like failure. No likes equals no progress. No texts equals no worth. No audience equals no point. But solo leveling flips that. The lonelier Jin Woo got, the faster he grew. Because without distraction, you have no choice but to face your flaws and fix them. You can't evolve in noise. You evolve in the quiet, in the grind no one claps for, in the months where you disappear and build a version of yourself even you don't recognize. Yeah, you'll go a little insane, but like the productive kind of insane. The kind where you're meal prepping while listening to Stoic philosophy and drop setting into your villain arc. Isolation isn't exile, it's training. And if you can survive the silence, you'll return dangerous. Sung Jin Woo didn't just level up. He didn't just get revenge. He became terrifying, but not to hurt people, to protect them, to protect the weak, to protect the scared, to protect the person he used to be. That's the plot twist no one talks about. The goal isn't just power, it's purpose. You suffered so you could become the kind of person your past self wished would show up. The version of you that could have said, keep going, it gets better. You survive this. That's what real strength is. Not six-pack abs and anime lighting, not flexing on your ex, not finally getting out one dude from high school to DM you, bro, you changed. Although that part is kind of fun. But no, true strength is becoming the protector of your inner child, the shield for your teenage breakdowns, the warrior that defends the insecure, anxious, broke version of you because no one else did. That's what Jin Woo became, a shadow monarch with a god-tier moral compass. And that's your final form too. Level up for you, but become strong enough to save the version of you who couldn't fight back. Let's be honest, most of the time, it doesn't feel like you're building anything. You show up, you try, you sweat, and still, everything looks the same. You lift the weights and feel weak. You study and forget half of it. You meditate and your brain just screams louder. And it's easy to think, what's the point? But here's the catch. The work doesn't show results until it's too late to fake them, just like Jin Woo. When the world fell apart, he didn't decide to be strong in that moment. He already was, because of the dungeons, the reps, the days no one saw. That's the trick. The grind always feels useless right up until the moment it saves you. When life throws something brutal your way, you either break or you realize, wait, I've been training for this. That's when it clicks. All the lonely effort, all the uncelebrated days, all the silence you thought meant failure, it wasn't failure. It was foundation. The grind won't feel epic while you're in it, but one day it'll be the reason you don't fall apart and you'll finally understand. Oh, this is why I never quit. All right, you've been inspired, you've felt pain. Now it's time to actually level up. Because reading motivational quotes is cool and all, but it's not going to save you when life throws a dungeon boss at your face. This is how you grind from E-rank loser energy to full-blown god tier. Identify your dungeon. What's holding you back right now? Not in general, not someday, right now. Is it procrastination? Zero discipline? That emotionally clingy relationship with your snooze button? Call it out. You can't conquer a dungeon you won't walk into. Be brutally honest. That thing you've been avoiding, that is your dungeon. And the only way out is through. Set micro quests. The big goal looks cool, but it's always why you quit. I'm gonna change my whole life this week. Cool. And by Wednesday, you're a sleep-deprived Dorito gremlin again. So instead, set micro quests. 10 push-ups a day. 1 paragraph of journaling. Study for 20 minutes. Meditate for 60 seconds. Yeah, that counts. Small, repeatable actions build consistency. Consistency beats hype every time. Stack enough micro quests and suddenly you're the main character. Track like a hunter. Jin Woo had stats, so should you. Write it down. Your workouts, your habits, your sleep, your dopamine spiral into TikTok oblivion. Would you go into a boss fight without checking your hit points? Then why are you living like that in real life? Tracking keeps you accountable. The awareness, that's the first step to mastery. Equip your gear. Your environment is either helping you or sabotaging you. You don't need a glowing sword, but let's get your loadout right. A distraction-free workspace equals plus 10 focus. A go-to gym playlist equals plus 20 energy. A cold shower equals plus 5 rage and plus 100 masculinity. Rituals aren't rigid. They're armor. They protect your mindset. Equip your space so your discipline doesn't have to carry the whole party. But here's the caveat. Don't spend weeks building the perfect setup. Don't drop your rent money on gadgets and aesthetic LED lights. That's not discipline. That's procrastination and cosplay. Your system doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to work. Jin Woo wasn't flexing ergonomic chairs in the dungeon. He just showed up and survived. Rest without resetting. Yes, rest. Absolutely. But don't romanticize it. Your rest day isn't a personality trait. It's a pit stop. You take it, you breathe, you recover, and you get back up like a monster just respawned. Too many people hit pause and forget to ever hit play again. Rest is sacred, but routine is survival. Find the pattern, not the motivation. Motivation is emotional caffeine. Good for a hit, useless for a marathon. What you want is pattern recognition. Study yourself like a boss battle. I'm productive after journaling. I crash when I skip meals. I spiral when I'm on my phone before bed. That's your data. Use it. Turn it into cheat codes. Become the player and the programmer. Treat discipline like a skill tree. Discipline isn't willpower, it's a build. And like every build, you start with one skill. Maybe it's just waking up on time, or reading 5 pages a day, or finishing what you start. You don't max out overnight. You level up, unlock, repeat. Before long, people be like, bro, how are you like this? And you'll just shrug like Jin Woo putting on a suit made of shadow demons. This isn't fiction. This isn't a dream. This is your system now. E-rank to God tier is real, and it starts with doing what 99% of people won't do. You show up, you do the work, and you don't stop. You don't need applause. You don't need validation. You don't even need support. What you need is momentum. One dungeon, one rep, one quiet, lonely, thankless day at a time. And just like Jin Woo, one morning you'll wake up and realize you're not that weak version of you anymore. You're not the side character. You're not the failure. You're not invisible. You're becoming unstoppable. So keep grinding. Keep building. Keep walking into dungeons no one sees. Because one day they'll say, you changed. And they'll have no idea how much you bled to do it. Now go. Build in silence and let them regret ignoring you.